All right, with this deviance, the last few things I'm going to mention are ways to measure crime. I've talked about the different types of crime and what crime is, but how do we measure that? Well, when it comes to crime, it's a hard thing to measure because no matter how many statistics we have, we don't have a really true, accurate picture of crime because much more crime happens than we ever know about, that we are able to record statistically. Um, we use the UCR, the Uniform Crime Report, and that's where those are official stats compiled by the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, um, from police departments. However, the problem with this is it's voluntary; it's not required. So while you might have X amount of police departments every year submitting their statistics, there's just as many, if not many more, that don't submit them. So you're already getting a distorted picture of crime, an untrue picture of crime. NIBRS was invented, or the National Incident Based Reporting System. It's much more detailed than the UCR. It was created to kind of address that, and also a few other issues with the UCR. But NIBRS, it's much more in depth. It's much more detailed. But with that said, a lot of people a lot of police departments don't want to use it because of that. They don't want to have to be more detailed in their descriptions or fill out more paperwork. So while it's a very good thing, a lot of police don't use that, unfortunately. And there's also national crime victimization surveys. So victimization surveys, and they ask people how much crime they've experienced. So if they've ever been burglarized or been assaulted or whatnot. They also ask whether you reported it or didn't report it. So you've got these different ways of measuring crime. Just one by itself isn't great. You can triangulate or use all three, and that gives you a better picture of crime, not a total picture. It could be a lot. Could be a lot better, but using all three of those gives you a more accurate picture of what crime is instead of just relying on one. The last thing I want to talk about is punishment. Does our criminal justice system work? Sometimes it does. In ways it's effective, in other ways it's not. When it comes to punishment, there are different rationales for it. Originally, the U.S. had three rationales for punishment. The three original goals of the U.S. prison system were retribution, basically giving payback to those people that committed crimes. Say, okay, well, you commit the crime, then you're going to get it right back at you. Deterrence, to deter people from committing crimes by assessing, I should say, punishment if you commit a crime, and also rehabilitation to try to change these people. One thing that I think about whenever I think about these rationales is I like the rehabilitation aspect, but I don't. It's not even that I don't think. I know that prison systems don't do enough to. What's the word I'm looking for? They don't do enough to prepare people for whenever they go back out into public life after prison. It's something that is. It just doesn't get enough attention, doesn't get enough resources, it doesn't get taken seriously enough. People say, oh, well, they went to prison for a good reason, why should we try to make them a better person? Well, because they're still a person. Especially if it's a crime that's not murder, these people at some point you would think would get out of prison, and they have to integrate back into life. I mentioned with socialization, an example would be reintegrating yourself into society whenever it comes to getting out of prison. So, if we're going to give people that chance, we have to help prepare them. So I think the rehabilitation aspect is something that really needs a lot more attention when it comes to prisons. I think it would be extremely beneficial. not just to those prisoners that might be let out, but also to society as well. But that's it for this chapter, and I will see you guys later.